The story begins by explaining there are different types of assassins in the world. Some rely on stealth, some focus on infiltration, and others prefer flashy, high-profile kills. While most assassins work hard to master one of these skills, a few individuals are naturally goated, standing above the rest. We get a glimpse of one in action. He's considered the best, believed to be the greatest assassin who ever lived. A man picks up a helmet from the ground and puts it on. The guards in front of him freeze in shock at his sudden appearance. Without hesitation, he leaps forward and stabs them in the neck. The narrator describes him as someone who has gone beyond human limits, becoming the very embodiment of death. Dressed in a black suit and coat, the assassin stands on a pile of lifeless bodies. The narrator calls him the Invisible Reaper of Death. He enters a building and plugs a flash drive into a computer. Within seconds, the computer beeps. The entire building explodes. As the flames rise behind him, he calmly walks away and makes a call to his client. Without emotion, he informs the client that the job is done and the target has been eliminated. He ends the call and glances back at the burning ruins with a small smile, knowing that his wife will not be happy about this. He returns home, a quiet place in a deserted area. He knocks on the door, and an angry woman greets him. She pouts and complains that he is late, and now dinner has gone cold. The deadly assassin, Zach, turns into a completely different person in front of his wife, Eva. He apologizes for being late. Eva grabs his hand and pulls him inside, scolding him for getting his clothes dirty. She tells him to take a bath and insists that she will clean him up. Zach becomes flustered and tries to say that he can bathe on his own, but Eva refuses to listen. She orders him not to talk back to her. When he jokingly tries to accuse her of mistreating him, she pushes him inside and tells him to be quiet if he wants a happy life. She helps him bathe and then dresses him up properly. Afterwards, Eva takes Zach to the dinner table. They laugh and talk about their day while eating. Zach watches his wife with admiration as she giggles, and he smiles at her cuteness. Suddenly, his watch beeps rapidly, glowing with a bright purple light. Frustration fills his face as he stares at it, knowing that the assassins are not making his last day any easier. Eva looks down at the table, realizing that her husband is being called out for duty again. Zach gently kisses her forehead and promises that he will be back soon. He puts on his coat and gets ready to leave. Suddenly, Eva wraps her arms tightly around him from behind. Her voice is sad as she asks him to promise that this will be the last time he leaves her behind. Zach turns around and holds her close. He assures her that this really will be his last mission. After today, he will live however she wants them to live. He smiles and tells her that he loves her. Eva wipes her tears and points out that a year ago, Zach never even smiled. She grins and says that she wolves him too. She asks him to come home soon once the job is done. As Zach walks away, Eva covers her mouth, feeling tears welling up in her eyes. Meanwhile, in another building, a group of assassins slaughters all the guards. Their leader asks how long it took for Zach to get alerted. One of his teammates replies that it has been 15 minutes and 44 seconds since they started causing chaos. The group steps outside, eager to see how the so-called best assassin in the world will handle them. Zach arrives at the assigned location, already annoyed that the assassin agency didn't give him any instructions beyond waiting there. He suddenly senses another presence and swiftly moves to check it out. One of the assassins recognizes Zach and admits that his reputation is well earned, since he detected them before they could even see him. Zach gets into his fighting stance and demands to know who they are. The 5 assassins strike their own poses, and their leader steps forward. Introducing himself as King, he names his team members: Rook, Knight, Bishop, and Queen. King then smirks and mentions that Queen has a crush on Zach, which explains why she's acting awkward. Queen turns red and tries to deny it. Zach coldly says he understands why the little girl calls herself Queen, but he doesn't get why the rest of them, a bunch of grown-ups, decided to name themselves after chess pieces. King leans in and mocks Zach for also having an edgy assassin name, the Black. Hearing that name makes Zach snap. He angrily corrects King, shouting that he has never once called himself the Black. He warns King to back off unless he wants to be sent straight to the Black himself. King quickly steps back, raising his hands in surrender. He explains that they aren't here to fight him, but to assist with his mission under agency orders. Right on cue, Zach's watch beeps, delivering new instructions. He is ordered to work with the assigned team to find the golden retainer. Zach is furious and immediately tells the group to go home since he plans to handle everything alone. King convinces him that they won't get in his way and will only provide backup while Zach does his job. With a smug grin, King tells his team that it's time to start the mission. The next second, King and his squad find themselves sitting on top of a container, looking down in shock. They don't even get the chance to lift a finger before Zach finishes the entire mission by himself in an instant. He takes out every enemy and retrieves the golden retainer effortlessly. King stares, completely dumbfounded by how easily Zack completed the job. Zack calls the agency and gives a cold update. The mission is complete. King watches everything unfold with mixed feelings. He doesn't know whether to be impressed or disappointed at how quickly things got handled. The group jumps down from the container and bows in front of Zack, praising his skills. Zack glares at them and asks why they are still here when he clearly told them to leave earlier. King shrugs and says they were going to leave anyway, but he has one last request. He asks Zack to give Queen an autograph because it would mean a lot to her. Zack refuses at first, but when he sees Queen's pleading face, he changes his mind. She reminds him of Eva. He signs the autograph, and Queen's eyes sparkle as she looks at it. She hugs Zack, but when she realizes he doesn't like it, she quickly pulls away. Zack disappears from sight, heading home to reunite with his wife. As soon as he leaves, King's group drops their act. Their real mission is about to begin. Queen hesitates, unsure about joining them, but King convinces her. Zack reaches his home, frustrated. He complains to himself about being called for 5 missions the moment he got to his door. Just as he is about to go inside, he notices Queen standing outside. He storms over to her, demanding to know what she is doing there. She explains that she placed an undetectable tracker on him. The group is up to something sinister inside, and she couldn't stay with them. Zack rushes inside, calling out for Eva. His breath catches in his throat when he sees the horrifying sight in front of him. His wife is impaled on the wall with nails. His mind snaps. Without thinking, he goes berserk. The entire group is wiped out within moments. Blood stains the floor, and lifeless bodies lie everywhere. He stands there, breathing heavily, his eyes filled with rage. Then everything changes. The bodies disappear. Eva is gone. The entire scene was nothing more than a mirage. Before he can react, the group attacks him from all sides. Blades pierce through him, and heavy blows knock him to the ground. Blood spills from his wounds. His vision blurs. Lying on the floor, he weakly turns to Queen and asks where Eva is. King steps forward, smiling. He asks if Zack isn't curious about their powers. Zack ignores him and asks again. King sighs and explains that Eva is dead. She killed herself the moment she saw the group approaching. He then reveals the truth. His group is from the future, and Zack's death is necessary to create a stronger world. Zack's body grows cold. His breath slows. Everything fades to black. The narrator's voice echoes. Zack dies an honorable death, and his sacrifice becomes the foundation of a new age of assassins. But 200 years later, cracks begin to form in that world. The hero Black has returned, ready to bring it all to an end. Somewhere in the city, an alarm goes off. A voice shouts that the backup data is gone, while a woman runs down a hallway. Guards are ordered to catch the intruder. As she sprints, she knows this is a big risk, but if her plan works, she leaps from the building, thinking that he is the only hope of changing the world. Zack wakes up, reflecting on death. He believes the last thing someone sees is total darkness. No light at the end, just an endless void of black. He is certain of this, even in his final moments. But when he wakes up, he realizes he was wrong. His eyes snap open, filled with fear and anger as he understands that he is still alive. It doesn't feel right to him. He came back from the black. The thought frustrates him, but he decides to use this chance to find and kill them. Hearing footsteps, he mutters that they are enemies. Guards quickly surround him and attack. He dodges and strikes the first one, noticing that his body is much stronger than before. As he fights fiercely, he wonders what is happening. When he realizes the guards are robots, he starts questioning his new abilities and his body. He feels faster, stronger, different. Struggling with these thoughts, he wonders how he is even alive. A guard suddenly jumps from above, knife raised, but is destroyed by a glowing circular weapon. Zack turns to see where it came from. The woman stares at him anxiously, wondering if her plan worked. Zack glares at her and demands to know if she is responsible for this. The woman studies him, impressed. He defeated all the guards without using Bod's upgrades or nano essence, just his natural skills. He is stronger than most people. She is amazed and can't believe the black is standing in front of her. Zack holds his sword to her and demands to know where he is and what happened to his body. The woman calmly tells him what he already suspects. They are in the future. 200 years have passed since he died. Zack looks around at the futuristic setting, already guessing they were in the future, but he is still shocked by how much time has gone by. Trying to ease his confusion, the woman reassures him that it is normal to feel this way and promises to explain everything. Zack, still suspicious, demands her name. She playfully tells him to guess, saying she just got this body and will call herself Maya. She asks if he likes the name. Zack warns her not to make him ask again. Maya tells him to relax, saying that knowing her name won't change anything. He has been dead for 2 centuries. With a slight blush, she adds that there are bigger questions he should be asking. As Zack looks at his worn clothes, Maya begins explaining. She talks about her past job at Caspa Industries and its dark secrets. Zack listens carefully, but remains guarded. Maya reveals that she had to reskin to escape. She explains that reskinning means switching bodies, just like what happened to him. Before running away, she stole his nanocore to activate his backup storage. Zack glares at her and asks why she would do that. Maya hesitates, but then stammers that the answer should be obvious. The world is built on a lie. After what they did to him, she knew he would be the only one determined enough to fight back. Zack angrily tells Maya not to assume he cares about the world, but she stays calm and steers the conversation back on track, saying they need to focus on what he really wants to know. She explains that after his death, technology advanced quickly and bioengineered bodies became normal. The world is now ruled by the Pale Death, a tyrant who controls everything. Assassins follow a ranking system, and the ones who killed Zack are in the top 5. A vision of these assassins, including Kinging, flashes in his mind, fueling his rage. Clenching his fists, he demands to know where they are, but Maya warns him that he cannot just rush in, as the world has changed, and he needs to learn the new rules. Zack ignores her, telling her to move aside, vowing to kill them all. Seeing the danger, Maya suggests they go somewhere safer, since their enemies already know their location. Zack, picking up a weapon, says he was counting on that. Just then, a man enters the room. Zack and Maya look up in surprise, and Maya wonders if they are already too late. Zack, stepping forward with a dangerous glare, assumes the man knows where his enemy is. The man, unfazed, denies it and tells Zack not to insult his king, warning that he will not allow such disrespect. Zack smirks darkly, taunting him and asking what he will do about it. The man summons his weapon and calls Zack's arrogance unacceptable, stating that as a pawn of his majesty, he will deliver judgment. Zack recognizes the strange technology in the sword, while Maya urgently warns him that he does not yet understand his body or its power and that they should run. But Zack, ignoring her, challenges the man, uttering his infamous line about sending him to the black. The pawn, unimpressed, mocks Zack for imitating a legend, saying it only stains his name. With deadly intent, he raises his sword and tells Zack to remember that in the short time he has left. Zack rushes at him, mocking him for talking too much, and their blades clash, releasing a bright flash of energy. The force of the fight pushes them both, but the pawn remains calm and says he will take Zack seriously. Maya watches nervously, knowing this is bad, and that Zack cannot fight a pawn yet. Zack notices the man's speed, thinking he is fast but believing he is faster. He goes for a counterattack but suddenly realizes something is wrong, curses, and quickly jumps away. Maya, watching, shouts that she warned him. This is not an enemy he can handle yet. She explains that this man is one of King's 8 pawns, pawn number 8, known as King's Lance, and ranked 100. She adds that his body is fully enhanced and upgraded, making him one of the top assassins. Zack and Maya stand back, thinking about their next move, while King's Lance casually flips his cape. Zack wonders about the future and what these upgrades mean, while Maya urges him to run, saying they are not ready to fight him. But Zack refuses, saying strength does not matter. He believes that he has to be stronger than his opponent if he wants to be worthy enough to beat them. Just then, a memory of Eva flashes in his mind, giving him new purpose. Maya offers to help in her current skin, but Zack insists she stay out of it and rushes toward King's Lance. Maya yells that they have no backups, so if they die here, it is over. Zack moves quickly around his enemy, scoffing at the idea of backups and questioning why people fear death so much. King's Lance acknowledges Zack's impressive speed and skill. Zack, fully focused, declares that having only one life is what makes people human, then stabs at King's Lance's heart. The attack forces King's Lance backward, and Zack explains that knowing life is short is what drives people to be better for their loved ones. With a powerful strike, he sends his enemy flying into the wall, cracking it from the impact. Maya is shocked by the sheer force Zack just displayed. King's Lance realizes Zack has unlocked something new, Nano Essence. Zack looks at his leg, amazed by the ability. King's Lance, getting up from the rubble, prepares his next attack, summoning a new lance and covering himself in armor. Zack, unshaken, taunts him for making his already tough body even harder. Maya, realizing Zack has made a breakthrough, tells him to trust his body so he can fight properly. King's Lance, determined, cracks the ground and refuses to lose. Zack charges with incredible speed, sensing how everything is shifting. His mind races with memories, his death, his revival. He realizes he is fighting a futuristic monster and must use this strange body to win. His past as the best assassin resurfaces, and for Ava, he is willing to give everything. Her memories, her love, and her wishes fuel him. If using this body makes him a monster, then so be it. He will avenge her, no matter the cost. With this resolve, Zack delivers a final blow, stabbing King's lance straight through. Maya watches in awe. He did it. King's lance, shocked, realizes Zack is not just imitating a legend, he is the Black. Zack mocks him, asking if that is all a rank 100 assassin can do. King's lance struggles, wanting to report this threat to his king. Maya urgently tells Zack to take his nanocore. Zack pulls the round disc from his opponent's body and asks what it is. Maya explains that it holds his identity and nano DNA, and Zack has one too. He asks why it must be removed, and she explains that it lets him communicate with the enemy. She asks for it so King's lance can reskin later, saying destroying a core is taboo in this future. Zack pauses thinking, then suddenly crushes it in his hand, telling King's lance to enjoy the Black. Meanwhile, Maya is shocked as he did not understand her at all. Zack coldly throws away the shattered core and says he did understand, but he does not care about backups or different kinds of death. He is here to kill and send everyone to black. Maya trembles, overwhelmed by his chilling resolve, realizing she may have unleashed something terrifying. As fear grips her, she wonders if this is the fate of everyone in his way. Looking into Zack's eyes, Maya worriedly wonders if this is going to be her fate as well. In a flashback, the queen hugs Zack and tells him that meeting him made her truly happy, even though her real goal was to plant a tracker on him. She wonders how things could have been different. Meanwhile, Maya blames herself for hoping things could change, and fears that Zack would never accept her if he knew her true identity. With tears in her eyes, she stutters but then stops, thinking that maybe she deserves to be killed by him. Zack stares at her coldly, then turns away and declares that they are done here before walking off, leaving her behind. Even though Maya feels heartbroken, she refuses to stay down. She gets up and decides that no matter what, she will help Zack reach the others and stop them, even if it means that one day, he will kill her. She catches up to him and apologizes to their fallen enemy, vowing that if Zack must continue his path of vengeance, she will make sure she is the last victim. Meanwhile, Zack walks ahead, lost in thought. As he examines his hand, he notices strange lines and wonders about his newfound power. Maya excitedly tells him that it is nanotechnology, calling it nanolines and nanoessence, but Zack is unimpressed, making the moment awkward. When he questions his appearance, saying he looks strange, Maya reassures him by saying she personally thinks he is quite handsome. Embarrassed, Zack walks away without responding. Suddenly, he dashes off, and Maya quickly follows him. He stops and yells at her, demanding to know why she is following him, then pushes her away by the forehead. Standing next to an elevator, Zack insists that he never agreed to team up with her and tells her to get lost as he presses the button. Maya refuses to back down, arguing that he cannot survive on his own without knowing anything about this world. A few moments later, they are both in the elevator heading downward. Maya warns him that more assassins will come after them, but assures him that she has already set up decoys and bait to distract their enemies. She insists that they need to stay hidden, and that he still has much to learn. Excitedly, she offers to teach him everything he needs to know. Frustrated, Zack suddenly grabs her by the collar and shouts at her, telling her that she never stops talking and that he does not need her help. He sneers in anger, saying that he hates the way she acts and that he cannot trust her. Maya then asks if the way she behaves reminds him of his wife, causing Zack's eyes to widen in shock. Furious, he demands to know what she knows. Maya, now desperate, quickly changes the subject by bringing up the story of his death, saying that he was betrayed, that his wife died in his arms, and that he fought thousands of assassins before finally being killed himself. She lies and tells him that she only knows this story because others have talked about it. Zack, gritting his teeth, seethes with anger and bottled up emotions. As soon as the elevator doors open, he shoves Maya to the ground and warns her never to mention his wife again. Maya, nervous, quickly agrees, relieved that Zack did not realize the truth. Meanwhile, Zack starts to think. He realizes that Maya is the only person who knows that he is alive again, and wonders why he should not just kill her right there. However, Maya, unfazed by his glare, tells him that no matter how much he pushes her away, he will need her help if he wants to track down his targets. Her confidence does not waver, and she firmly states that he does need her. Zack narrows his piercing red eyes, watching her closely. As Maya walks ahead, she begins explaining the situation to Zack. She tells him that the 5 strongest assassins in the world are nearly impossible to find without help. The only place where they gather is at an event called the Assassin Banquets. Zack, confused by the term, asks what it means. Maya explains that it is a gathering where assassins compete in battles to increase their ranks. Zack scoffs, finding the idea ridiculous, but Maya confirms that it was created for a purpose. Passionate about her argument, Maya urges him to let her help, telling him that he has nothing to lose by trusting her. Zack remains silent for a long moment, thinking. Finally, he gives in and agrees, but warns her that if she does not prove her worth, there will be consequences. Maya feels relieved, knowing that this means she can stay by Zack's side, even if only in this way. However, while Zack allows her to remain for now, he has already decided that he will use her for information and then leave her behind once he has what he needs. Then, he turns to Maya and asks about the plan. Smiling, Maya tells him they need to go somewhere, to the place where Zack died. According to history, the strongest assassin, known as the Black, died a heroic death, fighting off thousands of enemies. He did not fall until every last one of them lay dead at his feet, and even then, his body remained standing as if ready to take on any more challengers. Today, a great monument stands in honor of his sacrifice. Zack stares at the statue in disbelief, while Maya grins, commenting on how impressive it is. She explains that many people admire the person it represents, often visiting the site to leave offerings, pray, or remember the past. She notes that the statue reminds them of a simpler time when death was inevitable rather than something people chose. Zack mutters angrily that his death was fabricated and used for someone else's benefit. Frustrated, he kicks the railing, saying that assassins were never meant to be admired. They were just tools, weapons meant to bring death, not entertainment for others to enjoy. Suddenly, two guards rush over and tell him to stop kicking the railing and show respect. Zack glares at them with such intensity that they quickly back away in fear and leave. His reaction leaves Maya momentarily silent, but before she can say anything, a young girl calls out to Zack. She walks up to him fearlessly and asks why he is upset and if he has a tummy ache. Zack narrows his red eyes in confusion and slight annoyance at her innocent question. Slowly reaching out, he hesitates, unsure how to respond. Maya quickly steps in, jokingly saying that Zack is in a lot of pain, not just in his stomach, but also in his head, heart, and even his bum. Just then, the girl's father arrives, apologizing for her running off. Maya assures him that it is fine and that the girl is sweet. As they leave, the girl wishes Zack well, and he watches them walk away, lost in thought. Maya waves at them before turning to Zack and teasing him about not being good with kids. She recalls how awkward he was when they first met, and wonders if it was because she was also a kid back then, though she quickly dismisses the thought. Zack pulls her back to reality, demanding to know why she is so determined to help him. Maya sighs, acknowledging how serious he always is, and reminds him that he is not the only victim of King's cruelty. She explains that after enduring years of manipulation and suffering, she finally escaped but cannot rest, knowing that King is still doing the same to others. Zack listens as her determination to bring down King becomes clear, aligning with his own goals. With a smirk, he jokingly asks if she is King's secret daughter. Maya scoffs at the idea, saying that King would never let any daughters of his live. As they plan their next move, Zack realizes that Maya has been thinking ahead for a long time, recognizing that bringing him back was the first step in her mission to take down King. Maya urges him to come along, promising to explain the details on the way. Leaving the monument behind, they walk down the steps and enter a busy shopping district. Maya reminds Zack that their best chance is the assassin banquets, specifically the one that King himself hosts every year. It is the only event where all the top 32 assassins gather in one place. She tells him that in order to get an invitation, they need to rank among the top 32. Zack, grumpy, questions why she handed him a crepe. Maya insists that he has not eaten in centuries and tells him to just eat it. As they continue through the city, they discuss their strategy. Zack asks how they can raise their rank, and Maya explains that the best way is to eliminate someone who already holds a spot in the top 32. She then suggests a specific target, Rook, the assassin ranked number 5. The mention of Rook instantly angers Zack, and he growls, asking if she already knows where to find him. Maya, her expression serious, tells him that there are rumors of Rook fighting in underground arenas, disguised to avoid attention. She believes they should start there to gather information on the rest of the top assassins. Hearing Rook's name only fuels Zack's rage. Without hesitation, he agrees that they should go after him first, vowing to make him pay. Maya warns him that he still needs time to adjust to his new body, but Zack stubbornly insists that he is fine and has everything he needs. Maya then suggests that they head to their hideout first, so Zack can meet the rest of the team. Zack's anger simmers as he thinks about how their deaths were exploited to further King's ambitions, allowing him to enjoy wealth and power while they suffered. No matter how long it takes, Zack swears that he will make every last one of them pay. Meanwhile, in another part of the city, inside a brutal underground arena, a fierce battle has just ended. A towering fighter stands victorious in the middle of the ring, fists raised high. His deep, mocking voice echoes through the dark space as he challenges anyone strong enough to face him. He laughs as he taunts the weak, clearly enjoying their struggle. Maya and Zack walk into a plain-looking apartment building. As they enter, Maya asks if he is excited to meet their allies. Zack replies gruffly that he can barely tolerate her and warns her not to push her luck. Maya, a little hurt, admits she knows he prefers working alone, but reminds him that they need help to get to Rook and the others. She swipes her wristband against a futuristic lock and advises him to at least try to be nice. She reassures Zack that he owes their allies some respect, as they played a big role in bringing him back, even if he did not see it. She also tells him that they are determined to help, and besides, they are fun to have around. Inside the room, one person lounges on the couch, another meditates on the floor, and a third hangs upside down from the ceiling. The one on the floor complains that he cannot focus if someone keeps annoying him and calls the girl grandmother. Shocked, the girl scolds Yotsuba, playfully messing with his hair. Yotsuba stays calm and asks her to stop, calling her great-grandmother. He jokes that she must be embarrassed to be his great-great-great-grandmother, making Ruri fume. Maya and Zack exchange looks. Then, with a dramatic entrance, Ace drops down from the ceiling and walks over, looking unimpressed. He dismisses the others as weirdos, earning a glare from Maya. Zack turns and walks away, leaving Maya to call after him in frustration. A little later, Ace looks serious, Ruri appears unimpressed, and Yotsuba yawns. Maya clears her throat and tries again, introducing everyone now seated in the lounge. She starts with Yotsuba Yamikumo, who quickly reached rank 77, despite being only 25 years old. Next is Ruri Yamikumo, ranked 49, who is nearly 200 years old. Ace, standing back with his arms crossed, is ranked 69. When Maya introduces Zack as the legendary assassin known as the Black, brought back to life, Ace and Zack glare at each other. Realizing Zack needs a new cover name, Maya wonders aloud what to call him. Memories of Eva, now gone, flash through Zack's mind. With her no longer here, it does not matter anymore. He says they can call him Zack, deciding the name will remind him why he is still here. Maya skeptically asks if he is sure since he chose so quickly. Zack, unfazed, tells her to move on and explain the plan to find King and the others. Maya swallows nervously, and Ace offers to grab some drinks while she starts. Maya then outlines their mission. Their target is Rook, who holds rank 5. If one of them defeats him, they will earn an invitation to King's banquet. 2 teams are formed. Team A, Ruri, Yotsuba, and Zack, will fight Rook, while Team B, Maya and Ace, will gather intelligence. Maya enthusiastically asks if anyone has questions. Zack ignores the plan and tells them to do whatever they want, declaring that he will kill Rook when he sees him, and instructing them to find the locations of the others in the meantime. Ruri steps forward, ready to speak her mind. Yotsuba tries to stop her, but she proceeds to scold Zack for being disrespectful. Zack bluntly responds, pointing out that she suddenly does not mind her age now that it suits her. He remarks that maybe it is time for him to send an old hag on her way. Suddenly turning back, he blocks an attack. Ace steps in, saying he has stayed silent long enough but will not let Zack threaten or insult his allies. Maya, alarmed, yells for Ace to stop. Ace questions Zack's skills and asks if he was even worth the effort of bringing back. Zack does not back down, calling Ace an arrogant brat before being cut off. Maya, exasperated, orders them to take their fight to the training room if they must, pushing them apart. The scene shifts to the training room, where Zack and Ace stand face to face, with the rest of the team watching from the sidelines. Ruri slaps Maya on the back and tells her to stop acting so nervous. Maya, still anxious, nods. Ace challenges Zack and taunts him for just dodging instead of fighting back, saying he cannot believe he once looked up to him. Then, Ace hits him with a shocking statement. He reveals that Zack's death was pathetic, and that he was powerless to protect his own wife. Maya is stunned by the insult. The mention of Eva stirs something deep within Zack. He whispers that Ace is dead, as all the rage inside him finally erupts. Ace thought about his past. Since he was a child, he had always heard stories about the legendary assassin. He admired this man for fighting back against his fate and refusing to give up until all his enemies were defeated. But after learning how he really died, Ace could not accept it. It felt like a betrayal, and the truth left him feeling hurt and disappointed. Now, determined not to let anyone threaten his family again, he stood his ground, energy swirling around him as he faced his opponent with anger. He shouted that even if Zack had managed to create nano-weapons again, it would not help him, no matter how much of a hero he once was. Shadows surrounded Zack, his presence dark and overwhelming. He shouted back that he did not fully understand what Ace was saying, but it did not matter. He would kill him with these weapons either way. His blades gleamed dangerously. Maya, surprised, realized that Zack had successfully restored his weapons using nano essence. Ruri remarked that he was not the best for nothing. She then teasingly pointed out that Zack had done it even faster than Ace had ever managed, calling him her dear, cute grandson. Yotsuba agreed, noting that this level of mastery usually took years to achieve. He added that at this rate, Zack would reclaim his title as the top assassin, the best on the planet, sooner rather than later. The fight grew more intense, with Ace refusing to let Zack get close. Zack threw a knife, but Ace stood his ground, declaring that he would not let it happen, summoning a serpent-shaped shield. To Ace's shock, Zack's black knife sliced right through it. His eyes widened in disbelief as Zack closed in, taunting him and asking what he had just said as he threw another knife. Ace tried a powerful counter, using his nano essence, but it was useless against Zack. Panic entered his voice as he struggled to keep up with Zack's overwhelming speed. Hovering above, Zack made his intentions clear, taunting Ace for running away. Ace shouted defiantly that if he could not block Zack's attacks, then he would just keep attacking. Zack mockingly replied that that was all he had, forming another weapon to block Ace's attacks with ease. Ace was shocked that Zack's nano essence could deflect his strikes when earlier, Spirit had been able to pierce through it. With a final fierce strike, Zack roared for Ace to die. Sensing the danger, Yotsuba immediately sprang into action. A massive explosion followed. At the last second, a glowing green nano essence sword stopped just inches from Ace's head, shielding him from the attack. Zack's voice turned threatening as he warned Yotsuba to step aside or be killed. Yotsuba stood firm, respectfully stating that he could not allow Zack to kill his friend. His unexpected interference left everyone stunned, especially Maya and Ruri. Zack warned Yotsuba that he did not know how he had blocked his attack so quickly, but if he kept getting in his way, he would not let it slide. Yotsuba, downplaying his own skills, joked that he had always been lucky since childhood. Zack did not believe it was luck, and pointed out that Maya had said Yotsuba's rank was 77. If he remembered correctly, that meant Yotsuba was actually the strongest person in the room. Ruri shouted from the sidelines, proudly declaring that Yotsuba was her genius grandson and telling him to defeat Zack. However, Yotsuba, humble as always, replied that people gave him too much credit. He was just lucky. Putting that aside, he calmly asked Zack to back away from Ace. After a moment, Zack stepped back, agreeing, but making it clear that their fight was not over. Yotsuba quietly told Maya to take Ace. Zack muttered, asking if Yotsuba thought he could handle him. Yotsuba reasoned that if they kept fighting now, none of them would be in any shape to face Rook when the time came. Zack thought about this. Yotsuba continued, acknowledging that it must be hard for Zack to trust them after what had happened to him. But despite the fact that they had revived him for their own reasons, they truly wanted to help. He explained that Lady Maya had worked tirelessly to retrieve Zack's nano essence and find a bioengineered body that was a good match for him. Also, they could bring him back and help him achieve his goal. Finally, Yotsuba reminded Zack of his purpose, making one last argument. He pointed out that if they had not revived him, both he and his wife would have remained unavenged. Zack would have stayed dead, while King and his allies would have continued to cause suffering for many more years. Yotsuba then asked Zack if he would have preferred that outcome, or if he could accept his current situation and see them as allies. He declared that they were all ready to die to destroy Caspa Industries, but not like this. He urged Zack to remember who his real enemy was. As King's laughter flashed through Zack's mind, so did Eva's smile. Clutching his head, Zack reluctantly agreed. The team watched him in silence. With a final fierce warning, Zack made himself clear. If any of them disrespected him or mentioned his wife again, he would kill them no matter what. The heavy tension eased slightly as Maya let out a sigh of relief, but Zack immediately turned his attention back to her, demanding to know when Rook would be ready to fight. Caught off guard, Maya confirmed that it would be in 3 days. Zack set the deadline, stating that he would not wait any longer and instructing them to prepare in the meantime. The scene shifted to a massive building towering over the city. Inside, a man sat at his desk, speaking to someone on the phone. He pressured the caller into an agreement before moving a glowing chess piece on a board, casually remarking that it would be checkmate in 3 moves, a boringly easy win. An employee entered his office, reporting that the 8th pawn had been found dead, his nanocore shattered. The man looked out the window, excitement flashing in his eyes. Finally, something entertaining was happening. The next day at the hideout, Zack is in the gym, finishing an intense workout. He is doing push-ups, counting down the last few reps with determination. Sweat drips from his face as he finally reaches 3,000. Without hesitation, he pushes off the ground with great force and lands perfectly. Ready for another challenge, he jumps again, using his momentum to go even higher. Moving quickly and precisely, he leaps from one platform to another. Once high in the air, he shifts his focus, preparing for an attack. With a loud shout, He lunges downward, delivering a powerful kick to the punching bag. The impact echoes through the gym as the bag swings violently, showing the sheer strength behind his kick. Breathing heavily, Zack stands still for a moment. Then, someone enters the room and throws him a canned drink. He catches it effortlessly and examines it, asking what it is. Ace explains that it is a protein drink, his favorite. Zack, still skeptical, questions what Ace really wants. Ace tries to make amends, mentioning that things got off to a bad start the previous day. Zack listens in silence while Ace continues, apologizing and admitting that he said things he should not have. He acknowledges that Zack is still processing everything after what they have all been through. As Zack continues his training, Ace watches him quietly from the side. Growing frustrated by Zack's lack of response, Ace finally snaps, demanding an answer and saying that he is putting his feelings out in the open. Without a word, Zack suddenly rushes at him and delivers a hard punch to his face. Ace crashes into the wall. As he gets up, he realizes that Zack is still angry and wonders if he was just pretending when he backed down the previous day. Wiping the blood from his nose, Ace stands up. Zack states that they are even now, and warns that if Ace does that again, he will send him into the black. Ace, clearly shaken, nods in agreement. Zack picks up the drink and asks why Ace is so loyal to the others, noting that he got angry for their sake, not his own. Ace explains that they are his family, and he will protect them no matter what. Sitting down, Zack acknowledges that they share a common enemy, and says he understands Ace's priorities. Now curious, he asks if Ace is really that close to them, and starts talking about the struggles they have all faced. He begins with Ruri, explaining how she has been forced to live outside her family's estates for centuries. Her family treats her like an unwanted burden, but still uses her for their gain. Isolated from her own descendants, the only bright spot in her life is when Yotsuba comes along and changes her fate. Yotsuba himself was abandoned by their family because of a terminal illness. However, with Ruri's help, he survives and even gets a bioengineered body. But instead of welcoming them back, their family throws them out, selling their estates to their enemy, King. Since then, Ruri and Yotsuba have been fighting to reclaim what is rightfully theirs. Zack then shifts to Maya's story, explaining how she was manipulated by King, and how it is a relief to see her standing strong now. Ace asks Zack to be a little more understanding toward them, recognizing that they have been through a lot. Zack notices that Ace avoids talking about his own struggles. Standing up, Zack tells Ace that he understands where he is coming from, but there is one thing he is wrong about. There will be no closure for him. Zack vows to make all his enemies suffer before he breaks their plans for good. Meanwhile, Ruri invites Yotsuba to get some ice cream, but he sees it as a distraction from their mission against Rook. They playfully argue for a while. Maya steps in, telling them to stop messing around and focus. She scolds Ruri for using outdated phrases, and Ruri playfully fires back that Maya is just as old as them. Maya warns Ruri to be careful what she says in case Zack overhears. Ruri reassures her that he is still training, and then asks if he will be ready to fight Rook in 2 days. They discuss Zack's nano essence, which is different from any they have ever seen before. His is black, something unheard of, and it can cut through other people's nano essences with ease. Maya expresses concern about Zack's future because of his strange abilities, but Yotsuba remains confident that he will win. The scene then shifts to an underground fighting stadium, where the energy is electric and the crowd roars with excitement. A figure steps forward onto the stage, calling for new fighters to sign up. A bold voice booms through the stadium making an announcement. The audience, made up of fierce and eager fighters, perks up, eyes filled with curiosity and excitement. Rector, also known as Rook, who holds the rank of 5, declares that there are not many spots left. He makes a challenge. Whoever can land a single hit on him will get the first chance to sign up. Confident in his strength, he tells them that they are free to come at him all at once. As the 3 of them arrive, Ruri quickly points out that the fight should not have started yet. Nearby, Yotsuba explains that Rook got impatient and decided to offer the remaining spots to anyone who could land a hit on him. It is a first-come, first-served challenge, but so far, no one has succeeded. Ruri asks who he is, and he introduces himself as Jesse Seth, the executioner of judges, ranked 33. Jesse chuckles, explaining that he is just here as a spectator today because his colleague is down in the arena. Zack's face hardens as he locks eyes on Rook, filled with intense anger. Meanwhile, Ruri feels flattered when Jesse calls her little lady, but Zack is already too focused on the arena to notice. The announcer introduces the fighters, starting with Nora, known as the Radiant Fist, and ranked 50, followed by Kirasami, called the Vanishing Mist, and ranked 44. Finally, Rook steps forward, radiating confidence and arrogance. Ruri comments sarcastically that he is not even trying to stay low-key. Suddenly, a painful memory rushes into Zack's mind. Rook's laughter echoes as a vision of a bloody past floods back. Darkness engulfs him as his fists clench tightly. Without hesitation, he steps forward, his eyes burning with rage, declaring that he will kill Rook now. Ruri immediately shouts at Yotsuba, who reacts instantly. Jesse watches with curiosity as Yotsuba blocks Zack's path while Ruri jumps on Zack, trying to stop him. She urgently reminds him of Maya's warning, that if he acts now, they will lose their chance to track down the others. Zack roars angrily, refusing to wait when Rook is right in front of him. Ruri sternly reminds him that he will get his chance in the ring because Maya has already signed him up as an assassin. They argue briefly before Yotsuba calmly lifts Ruri and places her on his shoulders. Jesse's ears perk up as he catches their conversation and asks if they have already signed up. Realizing they slipped up, Ruri quickly plays it off, joking that the others just like teasing her and insisting that she is still young, agile, and ready to mingle. The other two stare at her in disbelief. Jesse laughs, reassuring her that he does not doubt it and playfully advising her to go easy on his colleague in the arena. Their attention returns to Jesse's friend, who is still fighting. Nora has yet to land a single hit on Rook. Jesse, smiling, explains that she and Kirasami have already secured their spots and are just having fun. They continue discussing the fight when suddenly, a loud beep interrupts them. The commentator's voice booms over the excited crowd, announcing the match brackets for today's special event. The screen lights up with the list of matchups, and Rook smirks darkly. The commentator orders the fighters to clear the arena, announcing that the first fight will begin in 30 minutes. Ruri teases Zack, claiming that she will take Rook down before he even gets a chance. Zack responds coldly, stating that no matter what, Rook will not be leaving this place alive. The commentator's voice blares again, declaring that it is time for a death battle. The arena gates close, and the crowd falls silent as the first match is set to begin. The first two fighters step forward, and everyone watches closely. Ruri and Gigi enter the arena, taking their positions. The commentator introduces them with enthusiasm, first calling out Ruri Yamakumo, known as the Cloud Cutter, and ranked 49. Then, he announces Gigi Fox, called the Supple Beauty, ranked 55, a stunning fighter admired by many. Gigi smirks, taking a jab at Ruri's age. Ruri fires back, saying she is surprised that Gigi is willing to risk ruining her perfect skin because it will not stay flawless once the fight is over. Gigi flashes a confident smile and steps forward boldly. The commentator signals the start of the match, and the crowd erupts into cheers as the two fighters charge at each other. Ruri moves like a wild predator lunging for its prey. Gigi refuses to back down and increases her pace, taunting Ruri that it is time for old ladies to step aside. The atmosphere is tense, charged with anticipation. Ruri moves at an incredible speed, leaving Gigi struggling to keep up. As Ruri slashes with her sharp claws, her expression remains cold and unimpressed. She states flatly that Gigi's words are boring her to death. The commentator can hardly believe what he is seeing. Ruri is moving so fast that her opponent does not even have a chance to react. He wonders if this will be the end of the first match and starts the countdown. The crowd erupts in cheers. Zack watches the fight closely and comments on how quick it was. Yotsuba explains that even though grandmother likes to joke around, she always fights with the intent to win as fast as possible. Meanwhile, Ruri scans the audience, searching for the attractive guy from earlier, wondering if he saw how much stronger she has become. But just as the countdown reaches 3, it suddenly stops. The commentator notices something shocking. Gigi's body, which was torn apart, is now magically putting itself back together. Gigi smirks, warning Ruri not to get too full of herself. Ruri stares in disbelief. Gigi laughs and explains that her body is made from a special material from Mars, which allows it to regenerate as many times as needed. She asks Ruri if she is surprised. The commentator excitedly declares that the fight is far from over. Zack is stunned at the mention of Mars, while Yotsuba notes grimly that grandmother will not be happy about this turn of events. Ruri sneers, complaining that even if she beats Gigi, her rank will not go up. However, Gigi remains unfazed, and points out that Ruri is acting like she has already won. As they charge at each other again, the commentator reacts in amazement as Gigi's fingernails extend and fire off like bullets, slicing through the air toward Ruri. Ruri dodges and curses as the attacks keep coming. Gigi taunts her, asking if the cat got her tongue. Ruri focuses on avoiding the relentless attacks, realizing that Gigi is using long-range attacks to keep her at a distance. She thinks to herself that she has to find a way to get closer. Suddenly, she sees an opening and grins. With a loud bang, she creates a smokescreen. Gigi confidently declares that Ruri cannot hide and launches another attack, but then she notices something strange behind her. She quickly turns and strikes at the shadow, only to realize that it is just Ruri's jacket, with the rest of it being made of nano essence. Zack watches and questions if that is even possible. Yotsuba explains that not everyone can do it, but grandmother has had 2 centuries to master her nano essence control. He also reveals that the trick was just a distraction. The commentator yells that the cat lady is changing the fight completely. Indeed, Ruri is quickly closing the gap between them. Gigi turns, ready for the next move. Ruri roars with fury as she lunges forward, but Gigi's cheeks puff up suddenly. Ruri halts mid-attack, only to get hit in the face with a slime-like substance. She falls to the ground. Gigi smirks and mocks her, saying that Ruri assumed she was staying at a distance because she was weak up close. She also teases Ruri, questioning if she should be wiser at her age. Ruri gets up, still confused, but quickly grows furious. She demands to know what Gigi thinks she is doing. Gigi casually replies that she is simply cleaning up, then lands a kick on Ruri's back. From the sidelines, Zack wonders if Ruri will be okay. Yotsuba, however, is confident that she will be fine. Ruri stomps the ground, her anger reaching its peak, and declares that Gigi is dead, completely dead. Gigi raises an eyebrow, pointing out that Ruri is not even making sense, and tells her to just give up. But then, her eyes widen in shock. Ruri states that she is done holding back. Gigi is stunned at the sheer amount of nano essence coming from Ruri's small body. Ruri announces that she will make Gigi pay. Terrified, Gigi quickly raises a defensive shield. Without hesitation, Ruri unleashes a powerful slash, challenging Gigi to try regenerating from that. The commentator confirms Ruri's victory. Gigi's body lies in scattered pieces on the ground. With the fight over, Ruri happily runs back to her team, her playful personality returning. The announcer calls for the next match, introducing Nora, ranked 50, against a new, unranked assassin. He hypes up the match, explaining that this arena gives newcomers a chance to fight top-ranked assassins. Zack asks why. Yotsuba explains that even if winning is nearly impossible, it is a way for new assassins to make a name for themselves. Yotsuba chimes in, saying that he has a feeling today will be different. Zack steps forward, preparing for his turn in the arena. Meanwhile, somewhere else in the stadium, hidden in darkness, a mysterious figure sits ominously. In a room, Maya and Ace face the figure, both appearing tense. Mina, known as Scarlet's sweetheart and ranked 7, leans back confidently in her chair. She looks at Maya with a smirk and asks what she wants, mockingly calling her an expired empress. Mina leans back, surprised that Maya would reveal her identity so easily, especially considering who else is in the stadium. Clearly intrigued, she wonders what Rook would do if he found out that the traitor was right there. Maya begins to speak, acknowledging that Mina is ranked 7 and the most famous celebrity on Earth, but even she must have secrets she would rather keep hidden. For a moment, Mina's confident expression wavers as Maya challenges her. Mina narrows her eyes and asks if Maya is threatening her, while her bodyguards step forward menacingly. Maya weighs the risks, knowing she is walking a dangerous path, but she is willing to do whatever it takes to stop their enemies, even if it means doing things she does not feel right about. Steeling herself, Maya states that even if it means justifying her past actions, she will do what needs to be done. She takes a deep breath before looking Mina in the eyes and clarifying that she did not come to threaten her. Instead, she tells Mina that she is smart enough to know Maya would not come without something valuable. Maya then tosses a data stick to Mina, who plugs it in. The two exchange silent glances before Mina's eyes widen at what she sees. Suddenly, she slams her desk and angrily threatens to kill them. Maya, unfazed, boldly replies that Mina can try, but if any of them die, the information will be leaked to the public. Furious, Mina slams her fist down again, accusing Maya of going too far and saying she is no different from him, calling them king and queen, two of a kind. Maya clenches her fist at the insult. Ace tries to step in, but before he can, Mina snaps her fingers, causing all of her bodyguards' heads to explode, shocking Ace. Mina growls in frustration, blaming Maya for what she just did, and demands to know what she wants. Maya states she is looking for information, anything that might lead them to one of the top 5, except Rook. Still seething, Mina mocks the top 5 for thinking they are untouchable, but reminds Maya that she is no longer ranked 2 since she abandoned her position. Maya stands firm as Mina pauses before adding a condition. She demands that Maya use her power on her men to erase their memories of this conversation, knowing that Maya's nano essence can do that. Though hesitant, Maya understands she has no other option. Mina notices the hesitation and presses further, saying she cannot risk any of this getting out, so that is her condition. Reluctantly, Maya agrees, knowing it is the only way forward. However, Mina does not trust easily, and warns that if any of this information spreads, she will hunt Maya and all her friends down. Ruri, standing nearby, looks back with cold determination and states that Mina can try, but if she threatens them, Ruri will kill her as many times as necessary. Mina, taken aback by Ruri's words, momentarily falls silent. Meanwhile, back in the arena, the second match begins. Zack steps into the ring to face his opponent, Radiant Fist Nora, who holds rank 50. The crowd buzzes with excitement as the announcer hypes up the fight, pointing out that Zack is an unranked newcomer. Nora, standing tall and confident, sizes up Zack and smirks, telling him that even though he is new, he will not move forward. Zack, focused and determined, calmly tells her to stop talking and just fight. Nora scoffs, calling him arrogant for speaking like that when he is up against rank 50. Without hesitation, she charges at him with full force, but Zack swiftly dodges, surprising both her and the audience. Though she is much faster than the pawn he fought before, Zack declares that his speed is greater, proving it by moving even faster. Meanwhile, Ruri watches in confusion, wondering why Zack is not using his nano essence. Yotsuba, impressed, remarks that Zack is pushing himself on purpose, testing his limits. However, he also notes that no matter how skilled Zack is, it is impossible to defeat professional assassins without nano essence. Struggling with her pride, Nora declares that she will not hold back anymore, especially since her mentor is watching. Her determination ignites, and her aura flares up as she prepares to launch a serious attack. The crowd watches as Nora becomes more serious, with onlookers warning Zack to be prepared. She charges at him, glowing with energy, and attacks at full strength. Zack carefully watches her powerful strike and dodges smoothly. Nora keeps chasing after him, her movements sharp and aggressive, showing no hesitation as she aims a crushing kick at him. The audience is amazed at Zack's ability to hold his ground against such a strong fighter. Moving with incredible speed, he dodges yet another one of her attacks, but Nora refuses to back down. Frustrated, she demands to know why he is not using his nano essence. Zack remains calm, skillfully avoiding her fierce blows without losing his footing. Nora, now even more determined, vows to force him to use it. Finally, Zack counters, effortlessly slapping her punch aside. The commentator exclaims that he seems almost hesitant to fight back. Then Zack's eyes flash with an unusual power, and Nora pauses in shock. Taking advantage of the moment, Zack dashes forward and lands a hit on her, sending her flying into the wall. Nora recovers quickly and declares that her body is built to endure even intense flames, questioning how someone so powerful remains unranked. Zack, staying silent, braces for her next attack. She then charges at him with a mighty golden punch, and the crowd erupts with excitement. However, she is caught off guard when Zack suddenly leaps into the air to meet her mid-flight, displaying incredible speed and agility. She swings for another powerful punch, but Zack blocks it, stating that the same move will not work on him twice. Using her own strength against her, he flips her over and throws her downward. As she falls, he follows up with a fierce strike, slamming her into the ground. Now standing over Nora, Zack readies his final attack, but suddenly stops. Nora, confused, asks why he is not finishing the fight, and he simply replies that he has no reason to kill her. He only wants her to surrender. Nora wonders if her mentor had something to do with this. Finally, accepting her defeat, she gives in, and the match is over. The audience bursts into loud cheers, thrilled by the unexpected outcome. The commentator excitedly announces that Zack has officially climbed to rank 50 without using his nano essence. Both Ruri and Yotsuba are stunned, and Ruri recalls that Maya had mentioned that the special skin they stole might have given Zack an edge. Meanwhile, Zack's gaze shifts toward Rook, and for a brief moment, their eyes meet in an intense stare. Just then, another fighter interrupts, telling Zack to leave the arena. A man named Crow, ranked 333, arrogantly steps forward, calling himself the second coming of the legendary Black and claiming he is destined to be the top assassin. The commentator notes that fighters are jumping into battles before the arena can even be repaired. Crow's opponent, Kirasami, ranked 44 and known as the Vanishing Mist, confidently enters the match. Eager to climb the ranks, Crow rushes in, determined to prove himself. But in a quick and decisive exchange, Kirasami completely overpowers him, ending the match instantly. Spectators murmur about Kirasami's incredible skills and what his victory means for the future fights. Zack, growing impatient, tells Yotsuba to hurry up with his own match, but reminds him not to kill his opponent. Finally, Rector steps into the ring, radiating confidence with an unsettling grin. He boldly declares that they should fight with everything they have. As he stands before them, the atmosphere grows tense, and Yotsuba, along with the others, stares at Rector with determination, ready for the next battle. The cheerful voice of the announcer rings out again, letting everyone know that the next match is about to begin. The crowd erupts in excitement, eagerly waiting for the fight to start. Nora returns to her seat next to Jessie, carrying a pile of snacks from the concession stand. Jessie takes a moment to point out that she does not seem too upset about her loss, and reminds her that she just dropped a rank. Nora shrugs, lost in thought about the lessons she learned from her last fight. She recalls how surprisingly strong her opponent was for a rookie, especially since he won without using nano essence, something very few assassins can do. She even compares him to Jesse, noting that Zack seems far stronger than his rank suggests, almost like a ticking time bomb waiting to explode. Zack playfully pinches Nora's cheek, teasing her about calling him a ticking time bomb. They joke around for a moment, but soon shift back to more serious matters. Jesse brings up his suspicions about the tournament, feeling that something dark is lurking behind the scenes. He predicts that the competition will not last long, and if he is right about Zack, then Zack is going to become a storm that the world is not prepared for. The announcer's voice booms again, introducing the next fighters. He calls out Rector, known for winning fights without using nano essence. Then, he introduces Yotsuba Yamikumo, a rising fighter nicknamed the Starving Calamity, ranked 77, set to face his opponent. Yotsuba steps forward, announcing that his opponent is Rook, ranked 5, one of the very people they have been hunting. Images of his fallen teammates, victims of Rook, flash through his mind. He knows these people have caused so much pain, without a shred of remorse. While he sees this as an opportunity to climb the ranks and get revenge, he reminds himself that his priority is protecting the people he cares about. Ruri watches anxiously, whispering his name in concern. Rector, full of confidence, laughs and taunts Yotsuba, daring him to make the first move. Yotsuba draws his sword, its blade glowing green. He knows attacking an unguarded opponent is dishonorable, but when dealing with a monster like Rook, honor does not matter. He is prepared to push his bioengineered body past its limits, even if it is dangerous. The nano barrier around them struggles to contain the immense power of the fight. Yotsuba breathes heavily but refuses to back down, even as he realizes his body has limits. However, he is not even sure if his full strength would be enough. The crowd gasps in shock as Yotsuba's attack nearly lands, forcing Rector to use his nano essence to block it. Suddenly, with incredible speed, Yotsuba appears behind Rector, questioning whether he is scared, after boasting that he would take the attack without blocking. Using pure strength, Yotsuba pushes Rector back. Rector, caught off guard by Yotsuba's speed, acknowledges that his opponent is truly strong. The commentator shouts that the rumors about the Starving Calamity are true, amazed at Yotsuba's skill, and wonders what his next move will be. Yotsuba realizes that Rector is tougher than he expected, but instead of feeling discouraged, he is excited by the challenge. Rector's confident expression shifts to one of shock as he senses the fight slipping out of his control. Yotsuba hurls his sword forward with precise aim before leaping into the air, summoning 2 more weapons in each hand and launching a rapid attack. The announcer nervously comments that they should have built a stronger arena since it is unlikely to withstand this level of combat for long. The crowd is on the edge of their seats as powerful attacks shake the battlefield. Ruri cheers for Yotsuba while Zack glances at the spectators, noticing how they are in awe of Yotsuba's strength. Rector blocks the incoming strikes with his nano essence, smirking as he taunts Yotsuba for repeating his attacks. But it seems Yotsuba has something else planned. As the battle rages on, Yotsuba's thoughts race. He suddenly realizes that if he loses, Ruri will be forced to fight Rook next. This realization pushes him to make one final, desperate stand. His mind is clear, his eyes burning with determination, as he tells himself that he cannot allow that to happen, no matter what. Yotsuba charges forward with a swift attack, his eyes glowing with determination, but Rector reacts instantly. With a sudden surge of power, Rector unleashes his nano essence and counters with a massive kick. He growls, demanding to know who Yotsuba thinks he is, showing off his incredible strength, prompting Yotsuba to crash into the arena wall. Rector arrogantly declares that he can do the same thing. Watching the fight, Ruri cries out in fear for her grandson. Rector looms over Yotsuba, casting a huge and intimidating shadow. Meanwhile, Yotsuba lies on the ground, looking beaten. Rector tells him that he will not let him get back up because he is too dangerous. He then unleashes a storm of rapid punches, each one hitting with devastating force, and driving Yotsuba deeper into the ground. The crowd erupts with excitement as the attack proves to be highly effective. Things are looking bad for Yotsuba, and the commentator wonders aloud if he should stop the fight. A flashback to the previous day shows Ace casually checking in on everyone at the base. There, he greets them normally. Ruri is already asleep, and is passed out, snoring loudly, proving she is a true veteran assassin with no nerves at all. Yotsuba, however, is restless and decides to keep training. Ace, showing an unusual moment of kindness, gives him a fist bump and tells him that he is already strong enough and that they will give their opponents hell tomorrow. Yotsuba smiles weakly and returns the fist bump. On his way to train, he finds Maya stress-eating in the dining room. Maya admits she is nervous about the upcoming fight. Yotsuba then reassures her that everyone will do their best, and she is touched, telling him she is counting on them too. In the training room, Yotsuba notices Zack is still training as well. Zack acknowledges him and asks what is going on. Yotsuba smiles, summons his weapon, and challenges Zack to a duel. Zack smirks with interest and draws his weapon as well. They fight all night. At dawn, Ruri bursts into the training room, followed by Maya and Ace. The training room is completely destroyed. Both men are lying in the rubble, clearly satisfied with their match. Ruri scolds Yotsuba for leaving his grandmother alone. Maya, irritated but trying to hide it, reminds them that the tournament starts in 7 hours and tells them to get some sleep. Back in the present, Rector continues pummeling Yotsuba. Ruri's encouraging voice echoes in his mind. Finally, Rector easily lifts him off the ground, mocking him and demanding to see his fearful expression. But Yotsuba only smiles and asks why he should be scared when he actually has the upper hand. Rector immediately goes on guard. Summoning every ounce of his remaining strength, Yotsuba makes a final move, managing to land a surprising cut on Rector. Everyone is shocked, even the commentator, who cannot believe what just happened. Rector stares at his own blood in disbelief. It is the first time he has been injured in battle. Yotsuba knows he has pushed his body past its limits. He looks toward Ruri, and their eyes meet. Slowly, he gives her a respectful bow. The crowd watches in awe at this moment of dignity and honor. Maybe Rector will feel some pity and spare Yotsuba's nano core from being added to his massive collection. Yotsuba quietly apologizes for his weakness. As Rector steps forward again, Yotsuba apologizes to his grandmother, regret filling his heart. Ruri's voice suddenly breaks through, filled with desperation and tears. The fight is nearing its end, and Rector continues his advance. Yotsuba thinks about his final wish. He only wants Ruri to live a happy and healthy life, and he silently says his goodbye. Just then, the arena wall explodes, throwing everything into chaos. Zack steps into the battlefield, his voice filled with frustration as he declares that he is done playing these games. He remembers the training session he had with Yotsuba earlier that day. He then angrily calls out for Rook as dark shadows surround him. If you've made it this far, you probably enjoyed this video, so watch this next one. Till next time.